The Rise of Kylo Ren, the mini-comic series that shows the fall of Ben Solo and him rising as Kylo Ren. Well, the second issue came out today, and it is glorious. And I know a lot of us are bitter about what happened to Kylo Ben in episode 9, and you kind of feel like, well, what's the point of even reading this mini-comic series? It's so good. Honestly, just read it. Even if you're bitter about episode 9, read it. It's so good.
You're fulfilling your destiny.
Hey, warning, there are spoilers for episode 9 in this video. I'm just going to be talking about episode 9, how it relates to issue 2 of The Rise of Kylo Ren, because, you know, obviously those two things relate pretty closely. I mean, but just in case you haven't seen that movie, like 3 weeks after it's premiered, warning. Also, go watch the fucking movie. What are you doing? Okay, so no spoilers. It was a really good issue. The first issue took place directly after Ben thought Luke was trying to kill him, and then the Jedi Temple is on fire. Actually, it starts with us doing a flashback to the Knights of Ren and what they're doing. But how we start in the timeline is we actually see where Luke's Jedi Temple is burning and Ben is standing there. And you know, if you read the first issue, that Ben actually wasn't the one that destroyed Luke's Jedi Temple. That was Snoke. And Snoke was kind of like, yeah, the fucker had it coming. Also, Ben didn't kill any of his students, Luke's students at this point, but there were 3 students that were off planet who then came onto the planet and were like, the fuck, we don't sense Master Luke and the Jedi Temple is burning, and Ben, you're standing here talking nonsense. So Ben ends up escaping because he's a BAMF and they chase after him, which is where episode 2, issue 2 of The Rise of Kylo Ren begins. He goes and finds Snoke. And honestly, this Snoke-Ben relationship is very, pedo, however you want to say it. I know depending on your country of origin, it is said differently. It's some really creepy vibes, and of course we know from episode 9 that Palpatine was controlling Snoke via cloning him. It was a whole weird thing. I'm making separate videos on that. A lot of weird stuff happened in episode 9. Which, honestly, I kind of like when Star Wars goes off the hinges, just because I liked Legends before Disney, where if that was a clusterfuck. Legends before Disney went and was like, nope, erased. It was a chaotic mess, and it was awesome. So if you want to see more of the sad relationship or the creepy relationship with how Snoke was basically grooming Ben, because we do see flashbacks even in this second issue where everywhere Ben is going on missions with Luke, so we have flashbacks to when Ben was still training under Luke, which is absolutely amazing. If you want to see Luke as a Jedi Master training students, please read this mini-comic series. You see Luke just absolutely unleash on people. He is powerful, he's confident, he's calm, he's collected. Lor Santeca is in the second issue. Even he watches Luke being a BAMF and using the Force, and he's like, dude, this is magnificent. So honestly, if you felt robbed with how Luke was presented in the sequel trilogy and you wanted to see that wise Jedi Master Luke and him training Ben, this miniseries is for you. And kind of a side note, if you are bitter about Ben dying in episode 9, he's not gonna stay dead. People love Kylo and Ben so much. He is a fan favorite of the new main characters created for the sequel trilogy. Expect to see hashtag Ben Solo lives sometime in the future. Whether it's a few months or a few years, Disney is going to use that to sell more books, comics, maybe even a show. We'll see. It's gonna be hard to get Adam Driver because he's just a rising star, but don't feel sad about Ben Solo being dead, because he's not dead. You get what I mean? Fuck it, if people that have been dead for hundreds and thousands of years can pull their body from the afterlife in Star Wars and completely come back to life, Ben Solo can fucking come back to life too, people. This is not even a stretch of oh, that would be really weird, and how could they possibly do it? We've already seen it done in Disney Star Wars canon, so I don't know. I guess I'm more hopeful, and it wouldn't come out of nowhere for me from reading all the other canon Disney has released, or Lucasfilm has released under Disney. Okay, so Ben flees the planet. He ends up going to Snoke, and Snoke goes, yeah, okay, maybe you going to see the Knights of Ren, maybe becoming part of them is the next part of your journey. I can't teach you everything. Snoke, via Palpatine, was pushing him in a certain direction. Here's also where we learn how Ben got the name Kylo. So it's a name he came up with when he was a child. It popped into his head. I'm willing to bet, because we have hints that Snoke, via Palpatine, I'm just gonna say Snoke, you guys all know it was Palpatine creating him if you've seen episode 9. It's just easier to say Snoke instead of Snoke, via controlled by Palpatine. You know? Anyways, we know that Ben was being influenced since he was in Leia's womb, so did Ben really come up with the name Kylo on his own as a kid and hear that name in his head because that's what he actually wanted to be called? Or was it Snoke trying to push a different identity onto him? I would be willing to bet it was something that Snoke did, but I guess we'll see. And it's interesting because Snoke is playing it like really creepy cool. Like, oh, I don't think the Knights of Ren will want Ben Solo. And Ben's like, oh, good, I hate that name. And Snoke's like, oh no, why? You're named after legends. And Ben goes, well, yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi, a man I never even met. And then I'm named after my dad, who, his name isn't even real. It was fake. It was made up. Everything's lies. He's just an angsty emo teen. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. If you've ever had to be around teenagers for long periods of time, their brains aren't fully developed yet. And so everything is the end of the fucking world, and they're just super awesome, amazing, and everyone else is just incorrect and lame, and you just want to choke the fuck out of them. Just want to get in there. So Ben ends up using a helmet that actually the leader of Ren gave to him back when he was training under Luke, and they encountered him. So now let's go to that, because we actually end the issue with Ben putting on the leader Ren helmet, which looks completely different. Hopefully it's popping up somewhere on the screen. And they're like, haha, finally you're contacting this kid. But before he can go, the 3 students from the first issue catch up with him and they want to fight Ben. As we saw in the first issue, Ben is just way above them in skills and just whomped their ass. So I'd imagine what's going to happen is they're going to die, because Snoke said, to become a Knight of Ren, you have to pay a terrible price. And we saw from the first issue, the guy had to kill his brother, but then there was a whole thing with that. But I'm imagining this is going to be the price for Ben Solo to become Kylo, a Knight of Ren, is he is going to have to kill those 3 students that he trained with. And it is going to be his first huge step to becoming Kylo and the dark side, because we've seen from the other issue, Ben really hasn't done anything too crazy yet. He was manipulated by Snoke via Palpatine. I thought I was going to stop saying it. I didn't. Since he was in the womb and Snoke was constantly in his head talking to him while he was training with Luke. And then when Luke thinks about killing him and Ben freaks out, he never killed, to this point, any of Luke's students. He didn't set the temple on fire. So Ben is pretty clean as of right now. But I have a feeling him having to kill the 3 students that he trained with is going to be his first act of really going to the dark side. So let's talk about the flashback to when Ben was training under Luke really quick. So we get to see Luke taking Ben on a mission with Rawr Santeca. They're going to a planet where they found a large collection of Jedi artifacts. Now, Snoke is inside Ben's head at this point, talking to him, going, you know, I sense you're not happy. And Ben goes, you know, I'm happy I'm going with Master Luke, but this is boring. Why won't he even let me fly? He's a great teacher. He's teaching me all these things. But it's like he never wants me to use anything that he teaches me. And then we see this really cute moment where Rawr Santeca and Luke are talking, and Luke turns around. He looks at Ben and goes, I'm so happy you're here. And you honestly can tell just from how the artist drew Luke, how glad he is to be with Leia's child and training him. And it just tugs at your heartstrings. It's so awful. Anyways, they go in and they get to the Jedi artifact collection. The Knights of Ren are there, including the current leader of Ren. And man, is it Bamf seeing Luke face off against them. He does it all by himself, and he just fucking owns them. And Rawr Santeca, I mentioned this earlier in this review, is so impressed just to see this Jedi Master going ham on these guys. Also, a really cute moment is when Luke says, I'm the last Jedi, and he turns and looks back at Ben and goes, but not for long. And my heart, I swear to God, Lucasfilm, you have to stop. You're going to make me cry. So anyways, the Knights of Ren get their ass kicked by Luke, and the leader goes, okay, I know I'm absolutely going to get my ass kicked by you, so how about we just say you win this round and we go, because being dead is just no fun. And Luke, because he doesn't want to murder them, is like, yeah, go. If you just leave, I'm not going to hurt you. That was the option I gave to you in the beginning. The shitty thing is, so if you don't know, the Knights of Ren call the dark side the shadow. The darkness, the shadow is in them. And so before the leader leaves with the other Knights of Ren, he looks fucking at Ben and goes, you know, and your student over there, there's the shadow. And which just absolutely crushes Ben. And Luke doesn't even want to hear it, and he's like, you need to get the fuck out of here. Also, and I know I've been talking about this way too long, I'm really, really sorry. I love when Luke is fighting them, and then he just whomps their ass, and he goes, yeah, you guys use the dark side of the Force, which is very powerful, but you guys use it like a hammer. I'm the light side of the Force, I use it like a blade. And it just, everything Luke says in this mini comic series is just so Bamf. And then finally, before the leader of Ren leaves, he tosses his helmet to Ben saying, hey, you know, there's a different path than what you're on now. Anytime, come get me when you're ready. And that's how he ends up communicating in the present time that the comic takes place after Luke's temple is destroyed. Okay, so I know that was really long-winded. It's just I'm really loving this miniseries. By the way, if you are reading the new Star Wars main comic storyline, they're now starting directly after The Empire Strikes Back instead of being between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, which I really like. And it's really good so far. I'm going to cover it, but man, it also hits you in the feels. All right. I highly, highly, highly recommend reading this miniseries. It's too good, but let me know what your favorite and least favorite part of the comic was in the comment section down below.
Thanks so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe for more Star Wars videos.